Hi everybody, welcome back to a little bit more of a... I don't even know what I was going to say. Nope, completely blanked out. What's up? How's it going? the jazz master vibes had me like so chill with that sweet tremolo. Oh, it's me from the future. Hey guys, just a reminder that we are giving away this awesome little Traveler headphone, built-in amp, all the fixins. We're giving that away on Thursday. So if you haven't entered yet, make sure you enter it. I'll link it up here, down in the cards, down in the description, all that stuff. Super simple to enter it. All right, there you go, guys. Open worldwide. No, today I want to talk about scales and what, I think scales are maybe a little bit misleading is a good way to say it, because I think people think that when they learn scales that they can just use them and do whatever you want. And you can do that, but you have to remember that scales are just notes. At the end of the day, the scales don't make music. It's you. So this isn't so much like a lesson like put your finger here, play this note. I just want to talk about and give some ideas of what to do with your scales, because I saw a comment from someone saying that, I learned the scale you showed me, the G major scale. And he's like, but what do I do with it? What's the point of knowing this? And I was like, that's a really good point, because it's like when you were trying to teach someone how to improvise, and they ask and they're like, well, how do you improvise? And it's like, well, you just do it. And it's like such a hard thing to explain and describe like how you do it, because it's something that only you can improvise the way that you improvise. Whether it's great or you're Eric Johnson level improviser, I don't know. A lot of those guys are phenomenal at it, and like Joe Pass and Pat Martino, all these guys, phenomenal guitar players. Improvising is something that only you can do, but the scales are important. But they're not like the end of the equation, I guess is a good way to look at it. So like if I chose any scale, like you can choose whatever scale you want. We're doing E. Let's do E Lydian. I always like Lydian because it has such a strong sound to it. The Simpsons theme song for one. How's it go? That whole thing. So it has such a good sound to it. But it has a very strong and a lot of vibe to it. But like I said, if I just played it like this, with no kind of like phrasing, no musical aspect to it, it doesn't instantly sound like music. I'm sorry. It certainly has a sound, but people don't want to hear just that. Okay? That's really not what we want to hear. What happens is you have to think of like everything that you've learned. All the little licks, the techniques, hammer on, muting, sliding, bending. Who are some of your guys who you just hear them play? A lot of people reference David Gilmour, amazing phrasing. I think of Stevie Ray Vaughan, David Gilmour. There's so many of these guys who, Andy Timmons, oh my God, he's like, every solo he ever plays is like a master class on how to like phrase everything. Think of like the stuff that you like about them and try to do it in your solos. So I love a real nice bendy, kind of this like slinky sound, and it's nothing of my own, it's I'm taking all these influences. So whenever you're playing, all that kind of stuff, look, all of a sudden it starts sounding more and more like music. Now, like I said, a lot of people refer to this as phrasing, but where do you learn it from? Well, you learn it from learning other people's stuff. You steal all these little bits and pieces. Like whenever I'm doing a Stevie Ray Vaughan thing like that, that's Stevie. That's who I got it from, Even that, that's like, like such a metal guitar player thing for me, because I probably learned it from, not Yngwie, it might have been Jeff Loomis, I can't remember. They did this like very like Phrygian, not Phrygian, like harmonic minor kind of thing. It was something like that, and I always liked that sound a lot. But then think of like someone like Eddie, or like a country thing that I recently stole, was this idea of going that little bit there. I loved it so much. I was a Brent Mason solo. He did it. It was so simple, but I was like, I love that little of the notes, and I had never done it before in that style. So that's where you start taking all these little things and you apply it to your scale. So let's take some of that stuff, put it in that Lydian mode that we were using. Okay, so maybe I go all of a sudden it's starting to take shape, isn't it? Like I'm like, oh, okay. Now it's I could hear someone, kind of like I could listen to him noodle over something like that, The little half step bends that I got from Eric Johnson, Now, it doesn't mean you have to become a clone of these people. You take it. Eric Johnson's not exactly jamming out a Lydian all the time in his stuff. To me, it's more Mixolydian, Dorian, blues pentatonic. Or take stuff like one of the big things that I do all the time, and I got it from John Mayer. Is the way he was harmonizing his notes together with one guitar player. He said, I was always doing like this. Kind of walking the scale. You have to learn how to do all these different harmonies all over the place. But all of a sudden, I learned there was can't remember the name of the song. Whatever that song is, hope is beautiful. I can hear it. I can't think of the name. Belief. But when he was harmonizing these notes and he was doing different things like thirds and sixths and all this stuff, I'm like, whoa, that's such a cool sound. It made me sit there and just learn. I wanted to know them everywhere. Without needing to think about it, I wanted to be able to play that stuff all over the place. There were guys who did it before John Mayer, but that's how I got it from, and it became such a staple thing because it just had such a cool sound because it sounded so big. Think about, to me, this sounds small. It sounds great, but the notes are very close. There's not that big interval happening behind them, and the different, even the width of the strings, comes into play. So I did that. I'm sorry. Okay, well, all of a sudden I was going more like, these sounds like Blues Brothers. And I loved it. And then, like I said, it gives you ideas to be like, all right, well, what if I kind of made the notes even further apart? I was like, okay, there's an octave. Now we're going back to Hendrix and Stevie. The thumb over the neck getting the bass notes. Look how far apart these notes are. Okay? They're not that far apart in the scale necessarily. I'm not in Lydian anymore, but... But it's just those little things. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything groundbreaking and monumental all the time, but that's what the scales are for. They're not meant, the scale, like I said, the scales never make music on their own. You have to make it with all the little things that you've learned. And that's where another a very key thing is learning your chords of the scale. So crucial to understand the way that the chords are formulating, even in the most basic sense. Learn it, because then you can come up with chord progressions. So if I'm over here like... know how to do that stuff off the cuff because of just knowing that I'm just playing the chords. Like any theory person would be like, that's like the most basic thing in the world that he just played. But I'm just literally, she says to G major, and I went E minor, which is my 6. Then I did D major, which is my 5. C is my 4. I could go to A minor, back to B minor, C. like I said, you just start messing around with it. All those things, so crucial to understanding how scales work. So really the scale is just a blueprint. You know, you've heard it said a million times. It's a roadmap, and you really have to decide how you're navigating the scale. Because no one really wants to hear that all the time. You know, you've got to have phrasing, you've got to have style and flair and all that kind of stuff in your thing. You know, blues players are great for adding. You know, those the bending thing from blues guys. Sorry, this guitar has 9-gauge strings on it, so my bends are kind of all over the place. But a thing I love from Stevie Ray Vaughan is like the falling sound. Like he would bend that because my vibrato's funky right now. He would just let the note fall, or he would just hang on the note. So that stuff. Short video today, like I said. This is just that comment piqued my interest, and I was like, well, you know, let me make a video explaining what do you do with scales. You know, you just use them, and you combine them, and you make a soup, and then you have lunch, and you play some guitar, and you hang out with your guitar buddies. Then you make a video on YouTube, and you upload it. So that's pretty much the gist of it. So I'll play you guys some rhythm out here. I'll play that little G major thing that I was making up a minute ago. And just have a good day. Try to play your G major scale over this. No. So, later homies. Bloop.